everyone, it's African Esquire. This is a night of hot topics, and I have reached my final topic that I want to talk about. And this is one that is more into things that I more talk about, that is Black political discourse. But it's still on the internet, and it's still messy, and it's still a lot going on. So basically, I want to talk about Boyce Watkins versus Yvette Carnell. First, let's talk about the philosophical differences between the two parties. So you have Yvette Carnell. She is a believer in Black politics, and that she said in her previous video, she's not against Black business, but she believes Black business cannot operate without Black politics. Boyce Watkins, he more so completely emphasizes the Black business part. I agree somewhat with both of them. I think that having politics is very beneficial, but I do believe that at the end of the day, I'm a Booker T. Washington / Marcus Garvey type. We have to focus on our economics first. And I say that because when you look at other examples of people who come to America, if you notice new immigrant groups, they don't mess with politics at all. I mean, they're really focused on their economics. Once they build up their economic viability, then you see them start going into politics. Then you see them forming associations, because regardless of anything, you can't really form a powerful association if you don't have the economic base boosting it up. Asians have a lot of associations. Jewish people have a lot of associations. When you learn about the different the different immigrant groups and their power and influence, it comes from the economics. So to me, I would prioritize the economics 100% over the politics, because frankly, we're very political people. A lot of Black people, compared to other, I hate the word minority, but other non-white groups, a lot of us are very heavily inside of politics more than others. Yet because we don't have the same economic viability that these other people have, we basically fail in a lot of our initiatives, because we have to go to, guess who? Other groups to fund ourselves. Think about that. So we're so concerned with being in politics, and so therefore we're trying to get things done, but hey, we don't have the money to get things done, so we have to go to the white man and say, hey, can you please fund this? And guess what happens when the white man says, okay, I'll fund this? Well, I'll fund this, but don't think I'm funding anything that's going to hurt me in my pocket. I'm going to fund things that help me. So I'm going to fund assimilationist ideals. I'm not going to fund anything that's Black nationalist. I'm not going to fund anything that's Pan-Africanist. So that's how I personally view it. I think I'm in the middle. I definitely see a benefit to politics. I definitely agree that economics is number one. So the thing between the two of them, and it's kind of like Boyce and Umar. Once again, Boyce Watkins, who I respect immensely as far as his passion for Black people, and let me back up for another second and say I really am kind of disgusted by how some people are so quick to say, oh, let's get him out of here, he's done, he's finished. And regardless of what you think about his methods, that man is very devoted to Black people. Period. You don't have to agree with him every single way, to just acknowledge that, when you watch his videos, and I don't watch them too much anymore, but I remember watching them back in the day just because I was so amazed that you could tell he has a lot of integrity about us wanting to do better by ourselves. So he's someone who definitely cares about Black people. So the fact that you want to get him out of here because you don't agree with him is disappointing and self-destructive, honestly. The way that we program ourselves, like the second we don't agree with the way someone does something, we want them to be destroyed. I mean, that is just such a slave mentality. The second that you see someone doing something to help people because it's not the way that you want it done, you want that person ended. I mean, check your psychology. Check the way that your mind thinks about people. And I never see this same anger ever about anyone who's just doing negative things to the Black community. I don't see the same anger against people like Floyd Mayweather, who went to Trump's inauguration. I don't see the same anger against these Black capitalists, be it Oprah or Lee Daniels. I don't see the same angst, the same people craving this person falling to their demise, and the whole reason is just because you don't agree with the way they want to help Black people, but you both want to help Black people. So that's enough to actually say, okay, well, this person is trying to do good by the Black community. So that's self-destructive to me. But I will say this about Boyce, and I said this in the Umar Johnson video, he's very passive-aggressive. And that's a criticism that I have of him. He's one of his downfalls is that, I don't want to call him emotional, but it kind of is emotional. He felt triggered enough to basically put a video out about Yvette Carnell criticizing her, and she reacted. Now, he does it in a way that he doesn't necessarily always call people's names out, but a lot of times he is going to be very passive-aggressive. He's going to say things negative about someone. And so in the case of Umar Johnson, he would say, oh, well, I have nothing against Umar, although he has problems against me, and I don't agree with him doing this, that, and the third, but I don't have problems with him. Well, if you don't have problems with him, don't bring him up. Be the bigger person. But unfortunately, that's an emotional component of him. He's very reactive with people, other figures, whenever they say things about him. And you can't be sensitive. That's just the truth. You gotta understand, people are not all gonna agree with you. People are not all gonna be nice to you. And if anything, just put that aside for the community, so that we have positive examples of people who handle our business like adults and not like children. So that's one thing with him. But, if anyone didn't see, what basically happened was Yvette put out a video of some guy, Charles Wu, I think is his name, and he basically exposed Boyce Watkins for his business, the way he runs his business, So how he tries to use emotions of Black people to sell Black people products for teaching their children, and how he basically tries to, I think it's a lot of weird jargon. I didn't like the video of Charles Wu saying all these things. I thought I'm definitely disappointed in Boyce for working with him. At the same time, I can disagree with you working with him. I can disagree with you potentially trying to sell people products, and also understand you're trying to sell people a product. And at the end of the day, I've listened to plenty of Boyce's online media. I've never bought anything from him. I'm not, I have enough of a mind to be able to think for myself and figure out, okay, is this something I need or is this something I don't need? Not everyone might have that, but you really should. You should always question products before you divulge your funds into them. So, I understand people feeling like he basically snaked them or deceived them. I completely understand that. I understand he's also a businessman. He's trying to make money. And he's also, regardless of what you say, he puts out a lot of free content, because I only listen to the free content. I don't never pay the money for any of this, but he puts out a lot of free content with good advice for people. But, so in response to that video that Yvette put out of Charles Wu talking and basically supposedly exposing Boyce, he goes out on YouTube and has this video where he's basically talking ish about Yvette without saying her name, and she goes ham in a 2-hour long video, and I didn't even watch the whole video. I got to probably about 40 minutes. I'm like, all right. But it's a 20-minute long, 2-hour long video where she's going in on Boyce Watkins, and I understand a lot of the points that she makes, but I do think that we're too quick to destroy people who, regardless of if you think about what you think about their methods, they're honestly trying to do good for a community. So I hope that they work it out. Philosophically, again, I don't necessarily fall with Yvette Carnell, but she's a very intelligent woman. She's very passionate about Black people also. And I have nothing to say negative about them, but I will just say that, we can have different ideologies and different ways of viewing things that happen with the Black community without necessarily discrediting that person or calling into question their credentials. And that's just back up, side point before I end this video. It kind of irritates me that I hear so many Black people who on one hand, will criticize white supremacy, but on the other hand, use their doctorate degree, their law degree, to basically act like I'm a degree in this, I'm a degree in that. I mean, it's always been weird to me, just because, and understand, like, I could go that route technically, but I never would want to, because I never thought that it meant anything. Because my biggest hero, um, all throughout my exploration of African identity, has always been Malcolm X. You know, I have other people I'm learning about, who I'm growing appreciation for. I would say, you know, Marcus Garvey's right up there too. I'm starting to appreciate W.E.B. Du Bois more and more, that I learn about how he kind of turned towards the end of his life towards Pan-Africanism. There's so many people who I really have respect for, but I've always viewed Malcolm X as the pinnacle of what Black leadership should be. But Malcolm X, I don't think he finished. I'm pretty sure he didn't finish high school. He got his education in prison, and I don't care what Boyce says, Umar says, any of these people. That man would walk intellectual circles around these college educated people, and he never even went to college. He never finished high school. He went to prison and read books. So it's weird to me when I hear Black scholars, you know, and I hate that, you know, the way that it's so hyped up. And it's weird when I hear them celebrate themselves for their degrees and always mentioning them, when at the end of the day, that degree was given to you by a white man. The same institution that you're criticizing gave you that degree. Understand the limits of what those degrees can do. It could make you very, very established. But at the end of the day, one thing I realized in college, there was not one thing that I learned in college that from being, and I was a political science and philosophy major, there's not one thing that I learned in law school that I could not have learned from picking up a book and reading it. So these certificates, these degrees, these PhDs, JDs, MDs, all these Ds, they're meaningless as far as who can say things and who can actually talk to problems and talk to issues. So that's my thoughts on this whole situation. Again, I would like to hear yours.